Exactly.
Let's do it right now. Because we're going into Game 5 of Zest versus FanTaSy, and Zest is not looking as comfortable as he did earlier on.
No, he's not, man. FanTaSy is actually, like, maybe an opponent he didn't expect to do this well.
What is going on at Dead Pixels? What are they feeding him? He, like, leaves to a foreign team, and almost all the time, like 99% of the time, the player gets much worse, but FanTaSy got much better.
Yes.
This is really strange.
Totally crazy, man.
But I'm really excited for it. Let's see what he can do here in game number 5, Zest versus FanTaSy. Who's going to win this one? I don't know.
KT roster Zest, 주성우 vs. Dead Pixels FanTaSy, 정명훈.
Down here in the bottom left, in the yellow, our pros player. Sorry, guys, I got some really funny tweets. It's Zest.
And to the bottom right in red, it's FanTaSy for Dead Pixels. So I got a tweet. I got a tweet from Chidori-san, and he says that's what it has, like 7 eyes in a row. He says the Reaper jetpack used to be used for flying, but according to lore, Terran convicts weren't able to control them, so they hovered. Now, as you guys probably know, Marines are Terran convicts that are forced to fight. And if you haven't seen the Hell It's About Time Starcraft trailer, which is one of the coolest game trailers there's ever been of all time, definitely watch that. But the Reapers are the crazy convicts. They're the ones that like couldn't control. Not like Tychus, he's like a convict, did some messed up stuff, but like he's probably okay. Like you can tell him to do stuff and he'll probably listen to you. Reapers are the crazy ones. So I guess they got jetpacks, but they were like too crazy to control them. The stim is also like...
If I were a Reaper and crazy, I would be flying, man. I wouldn't be on the ground.
Let's take a moment to think about the fact that stim is a drug that like makes you... damages your health, but also makes you shoot faster.
StarCraft is actually a bad game.
It's given to ex-cons.
Bad messages being sent to everybody every time you stim.
It's given to ex-cons who are put in dangerous robot fighting suits with a big giant Gauss rifle.
I just realized that I said that StarCraft is a bad game. I didn't mean it like that, guys. Please don't record that.
StarCraft is a great game.
StarCraft is an amazing game.
It's like Grandma said, it's better than those people punching each other on TV. I don't like it when they do that. Did you hear what he did to his wife? I heard that FanTaSy. I heard that FanTaSy is very friendly. You should become friends with FanTaSy. If you go to Korea, can you get his autograph for me?
FanTaSy is a really cool guy.
He actually is. I've hung out with him in multiple occasions. He's actually a super cool dude.
I also got a really funny tweet. I just followed you because Moonglade said to do so on KeSPA Cup. That's a great tweet.
That's great.
Like,
that's like too
props
deep.
to you, man. Holgarth.
I'm getting all sorts of Twitter followers. Follow us on Twitter. I'm Proximo if he's Brendan Valdez. We're going to interact with you guys on Twitter today as we go through these.
Today's a long day, which is why we're kind of more laid back today. I'm really enjoying this, actually, today.
Yeah, it's been like one of those days already where I feel like I just want to be chill. I want to be pretty relaxed.
For sure. Me too.
And if you guys like this, please do give feedback. And I know a lot of you guys like the TriCast. There was some discussion about getting TriCast for this. It didn't end up working out, but something that we could end up doing in the future. So
when you said TriCast, I thought you meant like try-hard-cast, you know?
Oh.
I'm like, the try-hard-cast. Some people do like that. Some people like the chiller cast.
This is a chill cast.
Yeah.
But like,
maybe we'll call it Moonglade. He'll come in for the last 3 best of 5s.
Yeah, I'm just saying, definitely give more feedback about that because I know a lot of you guys like it when we just kind of chill and we're not super duper like on aggressive analysis mode. Speaking of analysis, we have what looks to be a Blink pressure build coming out for Zest. FanTaSy is...
I would love, especially with the way that FanTaSy is playing, if Zest just went for big, heavy Blink pressure, like heavy. I'm talking like 6-7 gates and just like all into him to win Game 5 here because FanTaSy is playing like these robotic Terrans that just do the same thing every time, and Zest is taking advantage of that and then previous games, and maybe if he can identify this once again, he could possibly go for it and win the game.
Well, one of the reasons why I feel like we won't see that is just simply because of the threat of those Widow Mines. Like, if you go for that big commitment to a lot of gates, then you end up dying to Widow Mines because you don't have detection. But if he goes for
the Widow Mines hit first before you can really get enough stalkers out.
Exactly. So I feel like if we could see something in between that with a Robo, like he's adding the Robo now, if he adds like 2 or 3 more gates after he has Observers out, that would be great because FanTaSy often does play insanely greedy after this. Like, he does a little bit of damage, he forces those probe pulls, and then he goes into a super fast third base. I think that would be a great play. We'll see how Zest wants to do this, and we'll see if FanTaSy plays a little bit safer this time as well, because he might be changing it up.
Yeah. I would say that I would love to see that blink pressure, but Zest also, he's just too solid in those later games. He doesn't need to do that, so he'll just do what he does, poke that bunker, move back, and transition here.
So he saw the Robo, but he also knows the Robo's late, so he knows there's some sort of other tech. Since we haven't seen any Oracles already, because they would have hit right about now, you could probably reasonably assume there's some Twilight Council tech, and that he's going to have to deal with some blink pressure. He's adding double tech labs right now to start that Marauder production, so it's going to be that Marauder-heavy style we saw a little bit earlier as well.
See that Zest adds a couple of gates here. Looks like he wants to get a decent amount of stalkers out here, even just possibly to deal with the pressure that's coming out of FanTaSy. Once again, Widow Mine drops, and he's going to see it.
Nexus Cannon goes down, needs to target the Widow Mine, though! And he does!
Wow. He's going to get the first one. The second one is going to get 1 probe. Zest is probably one of the best Protoss's at holding off this kind of thing, and I think FanTaSy needs to see that and stop going for Widow Mine drops.
Well, the thing is, I would say Zest is one of the best Protoss's at defending this, but at the same time, like, he's blind countering it basically because it's happening every single game.
Exactly.
So this is the issue, right? Like, change it up, do something different, do a Hellion drop, like 4 Hellion drop, and then Elevator Submarines type play. I think would be a bit more effective. But FanTaSy is like sticking with his guns here, and it's starting to bite him a little bit. But he does know about the possible stalker pressure. He has to add extra bunkers, and even if Zest doesn't commit, which looks like he's not, making a bunker does kind of throw another wrench into the gears here of FanTaSy. Whoa, what was...
What?
I think he started a barracks
He's
there.
making a barracks now. He's making a starport.
He's just going to move the starport over right away.
Okay.
Wrong add-ons. Okay, that's what was going on. He made the Raven. Now he wants to get Medevacs out. Reactor.
Yeah. Sometimes you see this with players that recently get good, like FanTaSy. It's like they have a style that they stick with, and it works for them, and they just don't want to change it up. So even though we're kind of
Hashtag
him,
innovation.
Exactly, the robot man. But yeah, even though we're knocking him for not really changing up, at the same time it's been working for him. So
And he is really good at it.
yeah. So
Oh my god, look at this control from Zest. He has Blink too. Like, he can actually even be a bit more aggressive than he's being right now. Like, okay, so let's just like describe what just happened for a second. Against a Raven Marine army, he moved his Observer into vision to pick off Marines from the low ground next to 2 bunkers. Like, whoa. So high level.
pretty insane.
Top 3 control.
Oh, he is. I'd say he's probably the best, actually.
Yeah,
Him and Parting are the 2 guys that I always look at. Where
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, these guys actually have it figured out.
I think they have better control. Those 2 guys are better controlled than Hero and Stats for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, these Stalkers are asking for trouble.
FanTaSy not paying attention. Just going back to his base. One of their brothers die. FanTaSy goes for a bit of a later third base, and Zest is actually going to get his up around the same time while getting double upgrades. So as long as Zest can hold this off for late game, he should be in a good position. It's really up to FanTaSy to put on the pressure, but he's not really doing it yet.
No, not yet. He's coming across with this Raven now, which is going to allow him to do that PDD action.
Look at those upgrades. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, those upgrades lining up. There's a coincidence, I guess, in some ways, but there's no like 1-1 and range timing where he hits with the attack, but definitely cool to see them all kind of work out that way. Okay, now he's got 4 medevacs worth and the Raven, so this is pretty scary. Again, he can't really, like, he showed his hand here, but if he kills the observers, that's when things get scary, just like game 1. Ooh, Stalkers with the blink away. Nice snipe on the Marines.
They gave that guy some drugs before he went and died. It's good.
Well, that's a common practice.
That is true.
Let's not get into this. Let's not get morbid about this.
Let's halt that talking right now. That kind of talk.
Well, without Vikings attacking this is going to be pretty difficult. Actually thinking about like continuing the attack, but
Raven's gonna go down.
this is just never, the attack was never destined to do well. He's got Vikings now. It's not with his army.
I'm just really liking Zest's position now.
He doesn't have his third base up like super early or anything like that, but he's just got the right tech. He's got the upgrades insanely ahead.
That's the big thing here.
Oh, he really wanted that observer. He was going to stim for it. He got it.
Yeah. FanTaSy is the terrorist, man. Terrorist Terran. He doesn't want to be watched doing his sneaky stuff.
Yeah. He's like very much against the Patriot Act, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, my God.
This is actually, like, all things considered, a really good idea. Cannons are on the way. Those are at the front. Yeah, he's like totally read this. He knows exactly what's up. He saw the double Viking production. He knew the timings.
We'll see how this goes. Zest is one of the best, no pun intended, at holding this kind of thing off, actually. I would love if FanTaSy just put pressure on that third base. But let's see. He wants to go for the kill. Of course, all these boys pulled.
Even the cannons are going to do so much for him. Time Warp goes down as well. There's way too many Zealots to buffer. The Colossi are doing so much damage here. Yeah, they're going to go down, but they did their work. They did their job.
But at the same time, they will all go down
here. You know
here.
what, actually? I'm totally wrong.
He's going to push forward, and Zest pulls those probes way too late.
I didn't have charge for the whole fight.
Just not enough here from FanTaSy, or rather from Zest. Incredible timing from FanTaSy.
I can't even believe this worked. I'm in shock.
Wow. FanTaSy is going to move on, and Zest, the former champion of KeSPA Cup, is going to go down in the round of 16.
All right, in before FanTaSy's partnered with a Pro League team for next round.
Oh, he has to be. Someone has to pick him up.
Oh, my God. I mean, I really thought he was going to hold. I thought he had enough Zealots. He didn't have charge. He had 3 cannons and a Mothership core, but this timing is just too good.
Still wasn't enough.
He has just too many units.
Yeah. And you notice this time FanTaSy didn't overcommit with drops. He did 1 Widowmine drop, and that was it. He's like, okay, I'm not going to lose any of my units. I'm going to keep everything alive.
Zest wants to fight this. He still has another base, okay? Keep in mind, he has that third base, and a lot of SCVs did go down. The problem is, he can just elevator his units up into this top of this base with medevacs.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see this working, man. There's no way Zest holds this off. He's going to continue making sentries.
Okay, hold on.
I don't think FanTaSy has seen this third base. He can easily go up there, kill the third base, and just back off.
Yeah, but if he he's just gonna try to like I said, elevator up.
Yeah. This is a Zerg, man.
No Zealots.
You can't do this forever. And there you go. FanTaSy's gonna move on. Yep. Incredible play from this guy.
I can't even. GG.
Zest goes down in the round of 16. Former KeSPA Cup champion. And FanTaSy, he gets 4-0 in GSL, and now he's moving on past Zest, one of the best Ferocious in the world. What?
I wish I was the one interviewing him right now. I wish it was going to be me and not Kanata. No offense, Kanata, but like, I want to talk to this guy. Oh my God.
Maybe in the future we can get a chance to ask some questions. But for now, unfortunately, we can't. Zest, he looks devastated, man. As sad as Zest ever looks, he actually looks angry. Yeah. And I would be as well. FanTaSy, he has a huge history behind him, but he's not known to be the best Starcraft 2 player in the world. Only recently is he really coming into form.
Like, he even said in his interview, he's like, I know everyone thinks I'm the weakest player. And to be honest, like, I looked at this and I was like, I mean, before the GSL, mind